What up, everybody? It's Chip Walton. I'm in the kitchen of Chop and Brew headquarters giving you a quick update on my dry January efforts. Today is January 11th, and 11 days in. Doing good so far, man. No beers, not even a lot of cravings, strangely enough, which I am very surprised by. I thought this was going to be much harder. I don't know if it's just because of the mission or because of the great feedback y'all given me on New Year's Day. I put out that video and I've gotten so much great response, whether it's from people who've done something similar or somebody who wanted to do something after not even knowing this was a thing. People with exercise regimen advice, diet advice, like all kinds of things. Overwhelming, honestly, kind of pulling in all kinds of directions. So, what I've really done is two things. I've just not drank. I've done more than two things. I've gone to bed kind of early has helped. Elsa and I have been making it a point to kind of really like be upstairs and maybe reading or stretching or chilling around 9 o'clock. So that's just curbed some of that. But also, like I mentioned in the first video, I've been doing this app called C25K, Couch to 5K. Brian Adams and I are aiming on running, I can't remember if it's a 3K. I think a 3K in early April as part of the brewery running series, ironically, that'll start and finish at Black Stack, one of our favorite breweries. So anyway, I'm training every other day running, and I think that that has really helped too, because it's made me just realize like, hey, I put all this effort in. I don't even want to tempt myself to just add calories on top of that. So I wanted to go through some things that have like really made this a little bit easier. First one up, man, this hop water by Lagunitas. They call it Hoppy Refresher, sparkling water. It's basically like a LaCroix meets an IPA. It's just like all the bubbly, fizzly water. Ingredients: carbonated water, dried hops, nutritional brewer's yeast, natural flavors. It's got a slight sweetness, so I'm almost wondering if the natural flavors aren't kind of like a lemon lime. And I can't remember the hops offhand, but it's three. Oh man, I should have looked that up before doing this. But they use three hops. Their website explains the nutritional brewer's yeast. The role of that is to actually kind of help activate almost, or I can't remember the word they use. Transmorphifies or transformative. But basically, it's interesting because I've had some homebrewed hop waters where people didn't use the yeast and they tasted good, but they also kind of just tasted like hops and water, whereas this tastes a little more integrated. So I think there's something about the way that yeast carries the hop oils throughout the liquid, throughout the water, that makes this taste more like a full, enjoyable drink of something. Gives you all the kind of like spark and carbonation that you'd want from a beer with the hops, but obviously zero alcohol, zero carbs, zero calories. So I haven't gone the non-alcoholic beer route, the NA beer route, but I have started collecting them. I'm going to do some tasting notes later in the month. I don't even want to like get back on that train yet. I think I'm going to do this after next weekend. Just because even though there's no alcohol, I'm just kind of at a point where I'm eating better, and I'm like, I don't need more calories that aren't needed at the moment. But one that I picked up, Hairless Dog. This is a non-alcoholic coffee stout. As you can see, they claim 0.0, which is interesting because most beers kind of give themselves like a disclaimer or a preface that it contains less than 0.5% alcohol, which is still not a lot of alcohol, but they straight up say 0.0. And this is another one from a local brewery. Let me focus on this, called Bauhaus Brew Labs. Focus. There you go. It's called Nah. You know, nah, man. Is there alcohol in that? Nah. N-A, nah. So I'm looking forward to tasting these. I've got a couple other ones that I've been eyeballing. It's really cool, though, that like the craft beer space has gone into this. Sorry, the craft beer industry or segment of the beer industry has kind of gone into NA. You know, you always had your O'Douls, you had your bigger breweries, your Pilsners, your regular, but you know, Guinness has a beer called Caliber. But more importantly, there's actually like red IPA and hazy IPA options in the NA space, which I had no idea. I figured if you were drinking NA beer, you were having to kind of like suffer with something. So I'm looking forward to tasting these. and sharing thoughts with y'all eventually. I'm just not ready to go there yet. What else? Another kind of funny observation I made is, case in point, this Hoppy water. I made hop cheese. People have suggested like dry hop kombucha. It made me really start to think like maybe we're not all just obsessed with the alcohol part of beer. Maybe we're just all obsessed with hops. Maybe the answer is just more hops and more stuff to make you kind of cut back on the alcohol and the booze a little bit. I still want to plan to make my own hop water. A couple of recipes floating around out there, mainly from Clawhammer Supply. Still want to make kombucha. Still want to try some other stuff. But this far in the month, it's really just been about focus, exercise, eating good. Haven't had really a lot of time to go downstairs and wrap my head around some fermentation projects. But I do believe that's coming. Either way, wanted to update y'all. A lot of people have asked. Doing good. Haven't lost that much weight, but I definitely feel better and I see it. So I think because I'm running and doing these squats and these crunches on these apps, not necessarily dropping weight as much as just replacing fat. I don't know. I ain't a scientist and I'm not a nutritionalist. I'm just a dude trying to do good by himself for 1 month. So Lagunitas, totally blatant promotions here, man. Go to their beer finder. You can search your zip code. I was shocked to find that this is actually available in my local grocery store, although it wasn't there when I went, because clearly a lot of people are looking for it. But a lot of liquor stores around here also have it. So even if you're not doing dry January, do yourself a favor and get this. You can have it at work. You can have it in the car. It might just scratch that itch at times that you definitely should not be having a beer, and it might scratch that itch instead of having a beer. Bow! Dry January, y'all. 1/3 of the way through. Chop for chop. Dry for dry. Hey, y'all.